Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tony Talks, where I have conversations with inspirational leaders, influencers, and change makers, people that aren't just doing well in life, but that are doing good in the world by giving back of their knowledge, giving back of themselves, and sharing information that can help you change your life, change your game, change your business, change whatever it is that we're going to be dealing with. So today is Marketing Monday on a Wednesday. That's right. We rescheduled Monday's episode of Marketing Mondays in observance of Memorial Day here in the United States. So I am bringing you our neighbor from the north. Once again, Mr. Scott Martin from Groundswell Marketing is going to be joining us momentarily. And we are going to be discussing, again, marketing in all ways and also personal branding. So, as it turns out, I have this knack of matching my guests, and today's no different. So here he is, the one and only Scott Martin. Well, he's out of chat. Here he is.
I thought you'd be like delaying to get me on, going, where is he? He's not on the show. So I was just trying to. Did you think that or no?
I'm like, no, I saw you kind of duck out. I'm like, wait, he's just gonna make an appearance.
Yeah, I was trying to fuck with you. So.
But no, all good, all good. Listen, I like the hat. You're rocking the beard. I mean, for what it's worth, my COVID beard is longer than yours.
Mm-hmm. It's get a little dusty, but every 2 weeks I do a full shave.
Yeah, I haven't done that in like 6 weeks.
Yeah, I need to shave my head.
So when I go shave this off, I'm gonna look like I'm 22 again. It's gonna be great. So yeah, today I was just talking about how today we're going to be talking about personal marketing and personal branding. And we were just speaking briefly on that just before going live on how it is important to make that happen. So for those who don't know, maybe this is your first time tuning in, Scott is the founder of Groundswell Marketing, among other things. He's been in marketing for like 120 years. All right, maybe not that long, but it's been a long time. How long have you been in marketing?
It feels like, well, if you add all the experience I have, maybe it is 125 years. 25 plus, so maybe 26, 27 or something.
Yeah, so, and he's done work with Nike, or Nike, as they say in Canada, and many other large brands. And now he is doing Groundswell Marketing because he believes, as do I, that it only takes a small shift to make a big impact. It's that groundswell, something that creates that shift, that rumble, that creates that ripple, that is that groundswell, right? If I'm speaking to your branding properly or not. If not,
a spark to make a fire, right? Use that.
You need a spark to make a fire. There you go. So that's what he is here doing with us, and in his business is just helping us create that spark and think outside the box in marketing in different ways that maybe some of us haven't thought about. And today, one of the things we're going to be talking about is personal branding and personal marketing. So, Scott, with that said, man, take it away because you speak about it a lot better than I do.
Oh, that's a good intro. That's good, man. Well, it's like you're saying, like it's the groundswell. It's like it's good segue because the biggest thing that I'm seeing in marketing, one of the biggest things, not the biggest thing, is that most entrepreneurs or people that are listening are so quick to go and find the marketing guru. And I actually believe that the marketer is within you. And if not now, when? And I mean when is what's about to happen, what is already happening, what's going to be probably a huge shift. I'm just seeing this. I just had some conversations with some other experts on this topic about, we're seeing this, is that personal brand is going to become, it's always been there. And people have always gone, well, what does that really mean and stuff? But I think it's going to be totally critical, and it's happening so fast right now. Pay attention to this episode because this is actually legitimately is like a hot potato, and I think it's totally going to affect all areas of your business. Doesn't matter if you're looking for a job, doesn't matter if you're building a business, doesn't matter if you're a founder, doesn't matter if you're whomever, or if you think you're going to do something in the future. Start thinking about what your personal brand is today. So I think it's really important to talk about what is a personal brand. I got a little bit of a couple slides. This time I actually prepared a little bit because I was like, I wanted to make sense of it, but maybe I'll just talk about it verbally. Is that I think a lot of people who might be listening think it's ingenuine or inauthentic to build a personal brand. Would you say that is a fair statement, Tony?
Yeah, I think it's a very fair statement.
Because it used to be. You used to think that you're the person that, this is going to drive me crazy. Can I just get up for 1 second and let my dog out?
Sure.
It's just I won't concentrate because I hear this little and it's like scratch. Oh, there he is. Okay. Okay, he's getting evicted. So
Let's go.
All right.
I have my meetings sometimes, and I'm in the middle of thinking, and I'm like, the sound is like, it's just, it throws me off. Anyways, what was I talking about? Personal brand. So when people think that it's not genuine, I think it's because that there's been a lot of people who are trying to be performers or trying to prop them up to be something that they're not and stuff. And I think that is probably the barrier. And the reality is that a brand is not what it's not what you say, it's what people say about you when you're not around. It's just like friends, like what's your reputation? So think of it in that way. And then that really what you're doing is you're trying to bring all these little elements together to give you a better opportunity. And why it's so important right now in this like better opportunity that I'm speaking of is that right now, so many people are out of work, or so many people are now working from home, or now working in sort of like a contract basis. And more than ever, the cog of the wheel is changing, where even your personal brand used to be you walked into your office, you went to the business, you stood at your retail place. Now it's all virtual. So the personal brand is almost like Zoom right now, right? And then they kind of do a little segue searching. That's always existed. But now more than ever, I'm going to show that it's like really it's become so critical because more and more businesses are relying on the brands of the people or the staff of the business to be part of the marketing. It's like it's this whole shift. I'm about to release an episode by Michael Brenner. He's one of the most followed people for chief marketing officers in the world. He's world renowned. He's written several books, and we'd have this in-depth talk about that culture is the new marketing. It's like, but by the new market, it's always been that. But what that means is your frontline people, the people that are talking to other people, that is as much of your marketing as it is all the things that you do and say. So for you to become marketable, you want to start thinking about how can I present myself in a way that gives me in line of sight for the best opportunities, gives my business the best chance for success, and I can connect with like-minded quality people. Makes sense, doesn't it, Tony? Like, I mean, to me, that's like, you can tell when somebody's really invested some time in building a personal brand, right?
Absolutely, because and people forget that, right? They're so busy building sometimes talking about the business that they do, but it's important to be recognized as the expert in your field, not just the company that you're working with, right? Yeah. And I tell people this all the time. They say, well, I have this great product and this and that, but people don't know about me. And I said, so what are you doing? He says, well, word of mouth. I said, right now we have the greatest opportunity in history, right? How easy it is to become an expert or to start branding yourself on social media by doing videos, by making posts, by making yourself known. And that's just obviously one of the ways of doing it and becoming the expert in your field, but branding yourself. So
the difference between branding and brand, because I think a lot of people spend more emphasis on branding, not brand. And brand is just you being you. And so part of that is the fact that you go beekeeping. I feel like if I was coaching you, I'd say, why are you not leaning into that as part of your personal brand? Why does that not become part of who you are? That makes you uniquely interesting. There's so many metaphors from that. I mean, it doesn't have to be overt. It doesn't have to be so much. It doesn't have to be so literal, but just even a little bit of it, like making that part of your, like for me, it's surfing. Look behind me, right? Right. The wrong way, right? It's I've got my surfing and so forth. You got your beekeep suit right there or something.
Dude, I did say my wife, will get pillows for the rocking chairs out front that are bees, so there's like all kinds of,
there we go. But that doesn't mean this seems a little bit themey, but I think what's important is there's some elements to creating a personal brand that people mistake. They're so focused on selling and talking and shouting and not connecting and bringing in some of the things that they're really passionate about because it makes you more human.
Yeah. And you know what? You're right. We've spoken about this already 2 weeks in a row that I'm supposed to show up in my bee suit. That's terrible.
Yeah, we talked about that.
We did. So listen, talk to us a little bit more about the importance of that. And
you just muted yourself. I can talk. I don't know if you've muted me. But...
I'm going to highlight you. Here you go.
Okay. So the reason for why it's so important now is there's the big shift. Remember, I think if anyone listened to a couple episodes ago, I keep mentioning that we've left the era of attention, and now we're moving this era of trust, and this fracture that we're in right now is created a huge opening and opportunity, almost like that green light flash between the sun going down and when the sun was up and down, you get that flash. Like there's a moment in time that we're in right now that you can, there's a bunch of things that you can do, and personal brand is one of them. So I'm going to share my screen if I know how to do this again. So click screen, sharing screen, 2 monitors.
Hold on, I'll help. I gotta jump in and help you with that. So,
you have to. Oh, the beekeepers. Nice.
Well, listen, it took a minute, but this would be what I look like when I'm.
That is.
I wear gloves too.
So if you almost should screen grab this, because I'm gonna. You know what? I want you to give me the Chaka. The beekeeper. That's a keeper. You do it again for Instagram, and it's like, yeah. When does that ever happen? So there you go.
I'll go big screen so you can take the shot like that.
Yeah. What's that? Take a screenshot. Okay, good. So am I good to go?
Yep. Here we go.
Sharing? Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. So I can't see you guys, but so to me, what's happened here is I found this really interesting report. It's not super in depth, but it's it's called Humanizing Digital Report. And it talks about that we have all this like massive amount of information. So all this free content's coming in, right? And you also have this, another component is all this uncertainty. Well, people are really depending on people they trust. Well, and knowledge, so that becomes being a knowledgeable expert on something deep and niche that you know. People that are actually putting content like you are, like advising them, guiding them, you know what I mean? But people connect with people they trust. They also connect to people that they like and that are like them. So there's like a tribe connection stuff. That's why I think it's really important to add your personal sort of, it makes you human, it makes you likable, it makes you kind of connect to. If anybody wants the report, I'm going to show a couple slides from, you can just go to groundswellmarketer.com. It'll bring you right to the LinkedIn page. And I actually have 3 posts down. The full report, you can just go in and you can go read the report there. That's on LinkedIn. But just type in the URL, it'll just take you right to my group page. And then you can go and see that. Marketer is the name of my upcoming magazine I'm launching, which is marketer.eco. So this was one stat. It was like 72% of online shoppers that have been able to, being able to trust their favorite retailer or brand, that means personal brand too, is their highest ranking concern. That's for all business. Trust is like totally come to the top. And I think that what's right behind this is people they trust. Like that really what they're saying is that they're totally interlinked, right? And so it's kind of going through, and it did the study across US, Germany, and England. And it's just talking about what does that, like, how do they come up with these the stats to support that around what do I recommend for personal and honest advice? I help resolving things quickly, knowing my preferences. You can see knowing my preferences, knowing what I really like is now less important than I want to be able to trust. That was upside down. It was never, before it was, if you know what I'm doing, it's about convenience, right? It was like, oh, they already know my preferences, I'm happy to do it. That's just did a 180. It's like now it's like it's trust. It's fascinating to see what's happening right now in such a short amount of time. Maybe for other people it doesn't seem as fascinating, but because I'm tracking all this stuff all the time, it is for me. And that's the big switch, right? And so the key is not quantity of information, it's about the quality of information. So I think that a lot of people are just like pumping out a lot of content, but make sure that the content, if you want to earn their trust, is to like make sure it's of high quality and you're doing things to maybe interact. So I even have to shift mine. I've been publishing like I've been doing the same way, and I'm realizing I have to do that. I have to make these changes too, asking more questions, engaging, doing polls and things. So I'm actually shifting some of the ways I'm doing for my personal brand. But let's talk about what is a personal brand, just in some detail. And so a personal brand versus personal branding, they're different. So I went to Wikipedia and I'm like, here's the definition of a personal brand, which I agree. Personal brand is widely recognized and largely uniform perception of an impression. So an impression of you, right? Your reputation of an individual based on experience, expertise, competencies, actions, and achievements within a community, industry, or marketplace at large. So personal branding is different, though. It's the conscious, intentional effort to create and influence public perception. This is why I think people are really caught up on personal branding, is they see people trying to influence perception about them as a person or somebody that they see. And they're going, that's not congruent. Like that's like they're trying to make themselves to be something they're not. The point is that personal brand is really who you are. Branding is the act of actually promoting and making happen. Far too many people spend time here in branding, or in the past, the wrong people have been trying to brand the wrong product themselves, or trying to influence them in a different way. And then people dismiss that as being, I shouldn't really do that because it feels sort of icky, right? So most people overly focus, I think I said this, on branding and not enough on their brand. So personal brands tend to compete on authority and attention, right? So that is good. But I think what the big thing is, attention is the change. Shift to authenticity, because it's the one thing you have that's like a thumbprint that's just you. No one else can duplicate you, right? It's literally, it also makes you very personal. That's why the beekeeper suit, the wave, that I think is what people are looking for. Trust is also, if you trust a human being, you're like, oh, they're being really authentic. Don't you trust that?
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things that and I guess I can easily tie that into, because I tag it and I hashtag it all the time. Just be happy, BEE happy,
Yeah.
right? The name of the branding, how I brand the honey, actually, it's Be Happy Honey. That's actually the name of the honey, because I do sell it, obviously just super locally. But yeah, it's Be Happy Honey.
Get up and grow and be happy or something should be your new tagline.
Yeah.
So really right now we're at this intersection of perception and reality, right? Which is, you're at the heart of it. It's really these three things. That's why I said it's your personality, who you are, passion, like the beekeeper suit, the surfing, but your interest. And that is the three things that really create that. And your interest is this. I may be interested in knitting sweaters, but my personal brand, I'm trying to make myself and build myself as an author. It makes more sense for me to focus on the interest of being an author, what it would take to do that, than it is to focus on knitting. So we have to be realistic of the brand you want to build, because I could build the wrong brand. So how that works is like a little pillar, right? It starts with your interest. And the interest piece of it is being of influence, not an influencer. I think that's a big misperception. People, I want to be an influencer. That's not being a leader. An influencer just has, so quote unquote, like followers, but they're not even like, they're not people who trust and advocate for them. They're just subscribers in some way. That's not even, be a person of influence. That's you being a leader. And that's where you want to be a leader in the thing that you're interested in. So you said the very same thing. You actually said that when you're describing a personal brand, right? Like, which is being a leader in a category or an interest group that you have that you want to grow. To me, it's like, how do you become a leader should be number one thing. 2, passion, play to your strengths. Like, and this goes for this passion one isn't now, I'm not just talking about beekeeper suits. I'm now talking about channels. I think the biggest thing when people are thinking about the business, this is my big sort of like explanation here. I think when people think they want to make a personal brand, they have to be on every channel, meaning I've got to be on YouTube, and they're overdoing all these sort of things trying to keep up with the Joneses. What I'm seeing with passion is, what you want to do is go, what channel are you most passionate about, or are you more comfortable with, that you want to really lean into? Own and anchor 1 or 2 channels. If you look at like Joe Rogan owns YouTube and Facebook, but he's crappy on LinkedIn and Instagram. He's hardly got anything there. He's got something. I mean, sure he does compared to most people, but if you look at what he's doing compared to other people in the category, right? So you look at other influencers, they know where their lane is, right? So why I say that is because that's where your energy is. Your energy will go there. If you try to become an influencer on something that's like work, it just won't work for your personal brand. It won't feel right. It'll feel like you're pushing. And if you ever notice that sometimes people just take the same content and just put it on every channel, well, it dilutes it. In fact, it makes it harder for people to know which channel to follow you on. And the last is personality. This is all about what's uniquely you. It's like having, I say charisma, but then people go, I may not be charismatic. It's really about being distinctive. It's like having your real voice, like really owning your unique voice, opinion. You're seeing a lot more now with marketing consultants, business consultants, strategists. It's called a POV document. And the reason why stands for point of view is now people more than ever aren't going, yeah, you're telling me the exact same thing that everyone else is. What makes you different? And it's not enough to say my unique point difference. It's going my point of view, and that's really important. Why is the point of view important? It's like it's really being clear of not just who you want to attract, who you don't want to attract. And if you remember from the last show, what's worse than being hated is being ignored. Point of view, having a strong point of view on business. Like I have a really strong, very unique point of view in marketing industry. I mean, pre-COVID, I was a heretic. Now it's like it's become in vogue, which is sustainable growth marketing, doing things that you can actually scale and exponentially do that's got more long-term. But I think a lot of people think that if it's sustainable, it's got to be, it doesn't mean you get short-term. It's really a balance of rapid and long-term strategies, but that's another story for another day. So if you look at these elements, these are the elements that you want to look at and go, what would it take for you to build a personal brand? So let's start with number one, focus. So start with a focus. Go deep, not wide. Go into a deep focus and go, if I'm going to build a personal brand, I'm going to be the best darn, very specific consultant or coach for a very particular group of people. It could be their current mindset. It could be an event-based, meaning someone who just got out of a divorce. That's event-based. It could mean category. Oh, I work with entrepreneurs that have partners for the first time. Or it could mean a startup entrepreneur, whatever, right? Having a focus and stating it will do so much for you as a building block for your personal brand. 2, influence. So you want to basically demonstrate your expertise within that focus. And it's easier to believe your focus, like that you have influence in that. It's hard to believe that someone can be great at everything, but it's very believable that I am the world-renowned candle maker for seashell candles. Does that make sense? I'm the number one candle maker of every candle versus that. That to me is more believable in terms of influencing me and also draws in the people that I really want. Do you want to build your first very core to build your personal brand? Right now, it's all about bringing in the people that are closest to you, the people that rely on you, and your inner tribe, if you want to call it that. And then charisma. I think this is where people kind of trip up. They're so focused on branding like it's like an ad campaign. They've lost their personality. It's like they're not putting their personality in. You're seeing more of that now within. Have you noticed like on ads and TV, the people are like using Zoom and ads and like production's kind of janky and stuff. It's now become almost unacceptable to overproduce. So don't lean into it.
Yeah, I've been doing that for years.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's like this is like okay. So true story. We'll just divert here for a minute. I was on an hour and a half call with the producer of Ride Guide, and he has been filming backcountry mountain biking, heli skiing, surf, like just adventure, stuff for years. And he was brought me in because they're talking about doing some venture travel for a destination in a region, and just asking for ideas, and we're just talking. And he said to me, he goes, Scott, it's crazy right now because he goes, people value the content from someone's iPhone more than the full production with the lower thirds and all the production they used to do. It's almost like they value that more now. It's a weird because the amount of training and expertise and story, like all that stuff, it's almost more valued that it's sort of isn't perfect, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So that's the world we're living in. So am I making sense so far? I'm kind of just rambling, but
I love it. I want to. I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to reproduce your slide here on my tablet.
I reproduce it. I'll just give you the slide, dude. Like
yeah. So, well, when I write it down, it goes in, it stays in better.
Yeah.
But I'll be happily take the slide and maybe share it. We'll share it with the viewers.
So the next is originality. What sets you apart? This, for me, is the second most important thing, because originality is you can get away with lack of focus, not having influence, and charisma. But if you're somewhat original, you can fumble your way there. I feel like originality is a pretty heavy one because right now we're in content overwhelm. We're in like everybody's got something for free. Like, do you know what I mean? So really, I think that here you need to go, how am I originally, what am I saying? What's the point of view? That goes back to the point of view, right? What is my point of view on these things? That right now is so critical. And originality isn't being contrarian. It's about, it has to be It has to be like something that's original to what the combination of what you're doing. And that's why I think it's so great to personal brand, because there's only one of you. There's nobody that's going, we're not going to run out of like, hey, there's too many personal brands out there. It's not going to happen. It's like you just need to build your personal brand. You need to focus on it and treat it like this is an asset for me to help me further connect with people in a meaningful way. And if your personal brand, is about connecting with like my people, they need to originally kind of communicate that. The one that people get caught up on is the next one. That's why I said, is it brand versus branding? It's visibility. This one actually should come last, but it's the one that everybody focuses on first. It's upside down. It's like what I would say here is, for visibility, connect with your tribe first. Connect with your core 200. Serve them, help them. Like, just totally. If you've only got 200 people on your following you on your email list, celebrate. Like, do not think that you have to focus on, well, if I want to be a personal brand, I need to have 10,000 people. The people that got to 10,000 may not have 10,000 quality, or even it might not even be functioning. But the people who built 10,000 of really qualified, great businesses started with 200 and connected with 200 and grew from there and built their personal connection, their brand with those 200. Trust me, that is a truth. Everyone else that hasn't, it's been luck, it's been celebrityism, it's been a variety of different things. But most people that are watching this, that is where I think they get tripped up. So everybody's trying to focus. It's amazing. I get called all the time. I need to do a funnel. I need to get more people. I'm like, why don't you focus your visibility and serve a more narrow group, the people who are already following you? Talk to them, connect with them, right? We talked to one of your guests about using voicemail to connecting with your current group. Anyways, in the last piece, which is the number one, which is congruency. You cannot build a person. This is why the icky factor came in. People were trying to create a personal brand that was congruent with who they are. If you say, I'm the top number one, I see this all the time. When people say guru of social media or something, how many times have I seen a social media expert going, I'm one of the best social media experts? And you look at the social media feed and they're like, they have no tribe. They have no personal brand. They have no congruency, right? Or whatever it is. You got to make sure that you're congruent. Otherwise, it all falls apart. And that goes in what people say, your reputation. That's more important than, I think, originality and congruency are really key ingredients. Like, it just will not work without them. And it starts adding fuel when you go focus, and then you start building from there.
Yeah, it's like an alcoholic trying to get you to stop drinking, or a morbidly obese bodybuilder, or rather a fitness coach, right? You can't. One doesn't go with the other. You're either going to be one or you're going to be the other. And you're right. That happens. Yeah, listen, that happens so much. The other thing that I love that you said is your originality. Be you. Be authentically you, and attract the people that you want to attract. So many people are trying to be someone else, right? And here's the thing: you can pull that off for a little while, but at some point, it's not sustainable. So the best thing is to be you. Let's see what else. You had another couple of great nuggets here. Be a person of influence, not an influencer. Yeah. Boom! That's the drop the mic moment, man. So much you're giving so many great ones today.
Does it make sense, though? Did it make sense?
What's that?
Did it make sense, though?
No, it makes tremendous sense. The one thing that I find interesting is what you said. Don't put the same content on every single page, and I thought that was fascinating because I had heard from someone at one point to be consistent.
Okay, so being consistent is I would agree with that person, but I think what people get caught up on is what is consistent. Okay, so consistent might mean, to start with, your profile image is consistent across all your channels. So you think of portions of what I'm saying as being like sort of like the frame, right? Like your profile, maybe a couple, like the colors that you post across all the channels is the same. The font you use, right? That's the consistency. That's the branding. That's the marketing branding me. But you need to create a reason and be in context within the channel. For example, Instagram is more of a visual channel. Twitter is more of an activation channel. It's a conversation channel, right? Facebook has got links. It's got better for long form, but appeals to a different audience than people that are on Instagram. Instagram, you can't activate content. So it's really hard to send content that says click here to join or whatever, right? Unless you do it in stories and swipe up. So it's also being in context a little bit as well. But the consistency is, if they looked at the different channels, they would recognize that that's your brand. But the content and the reason that in that channel, if you really want to play at a high level, and I don't always play, I don't always execute that myself, to be perfectly honest. I should, but I try to make every effort to make sure that each channel has its own focus and the content. And sometimes some content I do want to share across. So that's why I think it's the consistency is doing it not like where everything has to be completely different. It's just having a slightly different angle. Does that make sense? Like, yeah.
Yeah, so just maybe even if you're on one, you're sharing just a little bit and you're sharing more on the other. Like one's a teaser, then you got to go to the other and guide one from one to the other. Does it sound like does that make sense?
Repeat that again?
So maybe share a portion of content on one and tell them that, and say, listen.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about that, though, is people can be kind of annoyed because you're just basically, why don't you just show it here? But sometimes you don't have the choice. So in Instagram, you don't have the choice to give long form. So then you go click on, find it on Medium or something, right? So, yeah, it's when you intentionally hide content, but you could have easily put it in that same channel. People go, they feel like they're basically you're not being.
Yeah, it feels like you're out of integrity. Right? Why are you hiding now? Just share it. Why are you making me go,
right? Like,
go there?
Yeah. So, and I sometimes will go, hey, the party's over here. So like marketer.eco is my magazine. It's my newsletter. And I specifically put almost like only 10% of Groundswell content in there. It's really, I find research, magazines, insights. I mean, I think you even follow it, right? You follow my marketer on Facebook. And I post, like, I scour the internet and I find fascinating ads that are like super interesting. I editorialize them. And I only do that on my Facebook group. I do not do that same content on Instagram. On Instagram, I'm totally focused on Instagram specific sound bites. And that's it. I mean, I kind of separate the two. On Twitter, I think I got 27,000 followers. I just activate what's going on in news and the best content and share it on Twitter as an activation point. So if you're a subscriber, you know that what's coming in the feed, hey, this is good content. So I treat all three of those channels very differently. Does that make sense?
And those are the three that you're on primarily.
No, I was just describing marketer. Yeah.
Oh, right. But which three do you use, or four do you use?
For my personal brand, brand is my number one is Instagram. 2 is Facebook, and 3 is Twitter. Those are my 3. Oh, and really, actually, that's not true. I may rephrase that because it's kind of hard. I got 4. It's LinkedIn. So really, it's Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, in that order.
Yeah. So it's interesting because Facebook's been my primary thing, and then I started getting on Instagram, and then LinkedIn, and now I started the YouTube channel, a month and a half ago. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to figure out.
But you started with the good thing you did there, right? Which is you're totally in line with my strategy that I'm talking about, because you didn't just do it all at once. You've got one, you anchored it, you got a reputation, and then you got it going, and then you added it, right? That's actually how you want to start building your ecosystem. It doesn't mean that you don't have accounts. It just means where are you going to put your focus and lean into what you're most comfortable in, because I think you'll just be more successful that way. You don't have to. Some people are really multitaskers and they can do it. Great. I'm just saying for the majority of people, they feel somewhat like inadequate somehow that they should be on all the channels, and I'm just giving them freedom to really do it smart. Just pick a couple channels and just own it for a while.
Yeah. And then people wind up going into overwhelm anyway. Oh, I've got to do this. I've got to do that. I've got to do the other thing. And they get, again, then it's the paralysis of analysis. You think you got to do so much, you wind up doing nothing.
Yeah. So the next piece I just want to share, this is my kind of like my give to something so that you guys can have something to work with, because I think sometimes it's like, these are great, but what can I do about it? And I think probably the single biggest thing is, do you want to create on, going back to the slides that we talked about, about how to achieve all these things, try to do it in a paragraph. And I've got a process for you that'll help you with that. So here's my paragraph. I help business owners and entrepreneurs to control their marketing spend and predictably grow their business by common sense and creative, unconventional strategies. It's a bit of a mouthful. So I was like, okay, how can I make this in a tweet? Right? I help entrepreneurs control their marketing spend and predictably grow their business by using unconventional strategies and common sense. Much shorter. It's a very simple process. If you basically take, and the way that you can have all those elements in there is think of this. I help to buy, right? I help entrepreneurs to control. So I help entrepreneurs. Who am I helping? Who's the core focus of people, right? To what's my narrow focus? What is my genius? What is my expertise to control their marketing? That's also the problem I'm solving, and predictably grow their business. How do I do that? By unconventional strategies and common sense. That's the uniqueness that I was talking about. You've got all the elements there in a paragraph, and as long as you're congruent, bingo, this little, all those things I just said, that we went back to this here, all the things that you want to hit on here, all you then have to do is put some visibility to it, right? You put your charisma, the way that you say it in there. It could be done through a video. It could be done the way I did, which was a tweet, whatever. And if you're congruent, off you go, right? I think that is something everybody can leave with, is going, I help to buy. Very simple. And if you want a more in-depth of how to really build an exceptional personal brand, I've got a great episode with one of the top personal brand experts on the planet. I recorded, last year. Her name is Brittany Crystal. If you go to the Groundswell Marketing Podcast or groundswell.fm, you can go to episode 10 on iTunes or whatever, and listen to the episode that Brittany really breaks down the clarity. If you get really clear and intentional, and all the things I just shared with you, that's my version of it. But she has it's almost the exact same, but she has a whole different take. But I really like hers as well, and it might resonate with other people. I really feel like that would be really helpful for people to go and enjoy that episode. And that's my share.
Love it. Hold on, let me take it off. Oh, you did it already. Excellent. That was awesome.
Helpful or useful. So,
what's that? Yeah, no, that was great.
Yeah.
That was perfect. Let's make it a little bigger. Let's see some of the comments that we had here. Danielle says that we're funny. I guess that was when I had the bee suit on. Liba just hopped on. We are talking about personal brand and personal branding and the difference between those. I'm actually using the iPad Pro, Danielle. And she answers brand versus personal brand. Awesome. And Danielle says she's going to start listening to your podcast. Awesome. Everyone should take a cue from Danielle and listen to the Groundswell Marketing Podcast.
Please leave me a review. I was I think last week I was 21 in marketing, and I bounced under, I'm in the top 200 all the time. And I don't know why I got a huge spot. I think it's because maybe Master Co, he must have pushed over or something. I don't know what that, I don't think I've been in the top 20 10 times, but it just happened again, so it's good.
Oh, awesome. Listen, actually, you know what I've got to do, and maybe if anybody on here is good at this, I need to strip the audio off of these videos and these live streams that I've done and make them a podcast. So that's something that I've definitely got to get going on, because that's something that's where this initially started going in the direction of, and then I just decided to go all video.
Well, when you have someone like me that's doing presentation, though, it's going to be hard for the audience to see. So, so that would be the only consideration I'd have. But I do like the idea. I think it's really smart when you have limited resources. I really love the idea for people when they want to make content. We're talking totally about a different topic now, about how to actually maximize. I can do a whole thing on stretching content. And one of the ways to do it would be doing Zoom. You do a Zoom, you export the file, the video, you put that as a YouTube, you export the audio and you make it into a podcast. Then you take that audio and you put it into Rev or something, and you can export it all as a copy, put that into Medium as a blog, and then you embed your video in there and you activate your podcast. I actually literally do that exact process. Do you want me to show you?
I'd love it. Yeah, If you can, how long? What is it? How long?
I have to do it. I have to do it on the fly. So I'm going to rogue it. I'm just going to show you.
Yeah, do it.
An example.
I love it.
So I wasn't planning this, but just like Chrome. Am I sharing?
Yep. You not want to share yet? Hold on.
No, I can't. I just need to find. I'm trying to find my browser because I split my screen. One sec. All right, I'll just do this. It's no problem. Okay. So Medium is, for most people, they may not know of Medium, but think of Medium as it's almost like Twitter meets Instagram and blogging. See, what a lot of people don't understand is that if you're going to create a blog, you have to actually spend energy of pointing people to your blog. It makes sense because you want to get people on your website. But like social media, I have 1,700 followers. Every time I post something, I get really good views and so forth. So, for example, here I'm just going to go to this here. So what I wrote was an article called "Grow the Healthy Marketing Mix," and in here I've got all my articles that I've written, which has basically come from my podcast. And my podcast is basically, I'm just showing you, this is my podcast on Anchor. I do a rant podcast called Rip Currents, where I literally just do 15 minutes. I don't do any editing. I just talk about whatever I want to talk about. And so I just make it different than my regular podcast. And then what I basically do is I also then can put it onto YouTube. And I basically done that. And I didn't even videotape this. This is just the same example without videotaping. And I've done that exact example where I started on here and recorded it and exported the content and wrote an article around it from some of the content, uploaded a few things, made a cover, and then put another cover on it and upload it to YouTube. Pretty straightforward. Didn't want to make it super complicated. I mean, I'd probably prepare a better presentation. I think I just ended my share.
The end of the show is great. Oh, hold on. Hold on a second here. What did I do?
You have questions?
I took you out for a second. Any questions from the audience? I think it's great. So do you do it straight onto Medium and then strip it from there?
I literally have Anchor on my phone. I record it from my phone. It goes onto Anchor. I don't even edit it. Like, I don't even produce that one like I produce my regular one. I was trying to test. My idea was, how can I most frictionlessly create a whole ecosystem of content that was different for each channel? And I started from one source, Anchor. I just did that little I just showed you an example. I got more because I've actually activated on Twitter, Instagram. You've probably seen it. Swipe up on stories. I've got an audio clip that I put into Instagram. I have a swipe up and a banner on stories, and I make a different one for marketer than I do for Groundswell and my own product. But I do it all in one sitting, and it's super easy to actually produce a ton of content. I could almost do a whole episode or 2-hour workshop on how to make so much content with that much effort. I think if people just really understood the tools, and this was born from when I was working filming heli skiing in the backcountry, and we were forced to come up with innovative ways to stretch out content, because when you're filming in heli skiing, the guides are like, well, first of all, gas is expensive, so the owners of the heli operations are going, you're not getting all the heli time you wish that you want because you're just going to burn fuel. It's super expensive. The guides are nervous because you're not paying tipping clients. They're a film crew, and these athletes are jumping off stuff. They do not want to be humping these guys off the mountain, so they're stressed. So they're totally like, everything is at odds. The weather, it's always shutting down. You're doing it in the winter, the best time, the least amount of light. The weather's never good, and then you're dealing with cold, athletes, humps, trees, and stuff. So you end up getting very limited content sometimes, unless you got a really big budget of time. And so we've had to learn how to stretch out content. So that's actually what started my journey of sustainable growth marketing. Was one of them, and is because I realized that content is an asset that you can actually stretch out and really rethink. How many people made a great piece of content and they posted it once and it's never seen the light of day again? What a shame. What if right now in COVID, you just went back to your best and re-resurrected it? That is a really smart way to really kind of like leverage time. That's a time leverager right there. like I told you, you should go to all your past episodes, right? I think I told you the same thing, didn't I?
Yeah. Well, listen, there's something in the works.
Yeah.
We'll
I won't
do.
give it away, but I give an idea that it's going to be amazing. So
Yeah. Indeed. So I love that. I love that to be able to take and edit and take little clips of it. And it's like you said, you can just take audio, strip the audio down, or strip a clip of the video, and just say, hey, and use that just sound bites. How many times do you see it? Gary Vee does it all the time. They all do it. They put, they have the intro, the outro, and then they just have that clip in the middle of that interaction with that one person, or that conversation that they had, or the thought that they're trying to share. So yeah, I love it.
What's a really simple way to make yourself look really professional is to focus a little time on going on Fiverr or go on, I'm trying to think, it's called Audio Jungle, right? And you can find little audio clips for your podcast or in like transition stuff that's already well produced that you get full rights to. And so if I were to go to Fiverr, what I did as a hack is the song that's on Groundswell, introducing it, is actually a song that is I gave the artist this song. I go, I want it to sound like this, and they totally reproduced and made it my own. And I have the full rights to it. And that song inspired me to podcast. So you can go and get someone to do it, and that cost me a couple $100. And I got originally 5 different tracks that I could recut and use in the intro, outro, and all that kind of stuff, right? That's super simple to do. Or skip right to it and go on Audio Jungle. You can search by tone type. That'll be enough for you to create your little podcast audio intro, outro. And then the same might mean if you go to iStock or video or different, like Dissolve, and just get a couple clips, get someone to Fiverr to edit to you, and just put them as bookends. And think of this as you could just literally up-level all your content. If you have a really professionally done like logo or bookends or audio bookends, if you want to call it that, on your intro, and you just produce that, and you don't have to even spend more than a couple $100. That will suddenly up-level all that content. You'd be amazed at how I go through great lengths, even though I can, there was no reason for me to use the janky, approach that I was doing with Anchor. The truth is, it works fucking great, but I can totally produce my own stuff at the highest of levels, right? But I'm trying to see, how could you do it with almost no money? Because that's more sustainable. It's also more realistic for people, and I think this is where it's going. So I believe the rise of the do-it-yourself is also maybe one of the biggest trends that's going to be coming on, and that also leans into this whole personal brand thing. If you are a personal brand, you can teach people to do it yourself because they can trust and know you and create a following around that. Because you've done it. You get people to show up.
You've already done it. Exactly. Awesome.
Right? I mean, that's why, because that's what maybe is, to a great degree, why, why I'm getting, the accolades or the success I'm getting is because I'm not a guy that's theorizing this stuff. I literally will go down and figure out, I'll edit, I'll make the animation. I figure out I just kind of obsessed with figuring out all the different pieces. I don't even use, everybody might think it's like someone in Viper. What's that?
You said, can someone in Viper? I don't know if that's
Viper. I don't know. I forgot. Now that putting up that question just threw me off. I don't remember what I was saying. I was ranting about something, but it was something to do around, being able to figure out how to do this. So I was going to say,
on your own.
My obsession of just working all the details is because I want to actually deeply understand so that I can help other people, but also just to be able to really, just enough that you can actually figure things out for yourself helps you understand. I think a lot of business owners are so going, well, I need to stay in my swimming lane. I need to get someone to do that. It's not my zone of genius. I understand that logic, but if you're resource strapped, you better buck up. I don't know why so many people are going, I want to get someone to manage my social media account and stuff, but they don't have enough money to do it. Then you need to learn how to do it. And more importantly, if you know how to do it, you can manage it for less anyways. So if you just invest a little bit up front, you don't have to know everything, but just knowing enough can actually bring down your costs over time. And I think
that's so true in everything in life, right? If you don't know about one thing or another, every time you need to get something done, you're going to get taken to the cleaners.
Do you think Steve Jobs understood branding and marketing innovation? Fuck yes. He owned it.
Yeah, he didn't do it.
He understood the channels. Do you think Tony Robbins Like if you look at Tony Robbins, and Tony Robbins will say you need to be the owner operator, that you need to do the three. But if you ask him about his own business, he understands every little piece of that business because he wants to champion, he wants to be outstanding. So people who are listening to this going, yeah, but they're buying into a lazy way, in my opinion. I know I'm being really harsh right now, but I'm trying to save you from yourselves. The amount of money you waste, but unless you really truly understand, there's some things that you can do that you can just do it yourself. But even if you don't have the time to do it in the future, have an understanding of it. You'll to the point where you can lead it.
Well, and that's important because again, you can't. It's hard to lead or it's hard to lead something you don't understand. You know, like what you said, Tony Robbins knows every part of the company or what's going on, because if he doesn't, then people can just tell you whatever the hell they want to tell you, and you've got to buy it because you don't know if that's true or not. Right. And that's where you can really start getting in trouble. You know, as an example,
he didn't understand social media. And then I heard him say it at Business Mastery. He riffed off a couple things. I'm like, oh, fuck, he understands the algorithm in Instagram. So he kind of don't be fooled that even though he has people managing it, he's obsessed with the details of understanding the business. And the reason I bring this up, so to bring it full loop, is for your personal brand, far too many people are going and treating their personal brand like they should be treating a business and getting somebody else to do it. Terrible mistake to do that. I think that be congruent, do it yourself. Don't overproduce it right now, especially. I think that the days of like lights, camera, action, you got a film crew and you're doing a talk and all that kind of stuff is just not accepted. It's still not wrong or anything. It's just I think that it's more congruent, I think, for people and understanding that people understand that you can do it. So lean into it. Take advantage of the fact that right now that might change in some time. Who knows? So take advantage of it.
Yeah, I love it. Look, I've been doing a lot of the social media myself, and when people tell me, "Oh my God, it's so hard," I'm like, it really isn't. It's time consuming, and if you're either creating original content or you're resharing some content or repurposing some of your own or whatever it is, it does take time. And people say, well, why don't you just have somebody else do it? I said, well, because, I do make my own posts. And if I'm trying to engage with the audience, I want to know what it is that I'm posting. I want to have that integrity in that I don't want to say that I'm posting and I'm not, or, somebody says, I know somebody who has somebody make their posts and they also respond to comments. I'm like, how is it if you ever meet that person or if you have an interaction with that person, or somebody says, hey, Scott, I love that post you made the other day. Man, that comment you said about this or that, if imagine I'm saying that to you and you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, how are you going to engage me? One of the people that I've been following is just amusing. He's witty as hell, and he's from your neck of the woods, Dave Asprey. Mm-hmm. You want to get entertained, just go and not that I'm plugging Dave Asprey, but hell, go check it out. Like on Instagram, he posted something about 2 weeks ago, and he just posted a picture of a steak, grass-fed, local, whatever, and people just got on him. And not only did he respond to so many of them, and many of them all of them like a gentleman, but a couple of them, man, he's witty. He is one witty guy. But what I'm saying is, if he has somebody else responding for him, or if somebody's trolling you, and God knows that, I've gotten some trolls already too, as I'm sure that you have, which is great because that means that you're making an impact, right? If you don't have any haters or any trolls, that means you haven't made it yet. But so when you start getting the trolls and the haters, it's good. People you don't even know, like trashing you, it's not a bad thing. I don't think anyway. But it's just amazing the way that he handles his own. Certainly, at the very least, Instagram, he does his own, right? Whether obviously he's not doing it for Bulletproof itself, but his own page he does manage. So I think it's important and to be in integrity and to be authentic. We keep talking about authenticity and being authentically you. I think when you're creating your personal brand and you're doing your own pages, I think you need to have your hand in it. If you're not doing it yourself, you need to have your hands all in it, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think it's okay if a business has someone managing. I think people understand that. Should you be concerned about your personal brand, even if you're employed? Absolutely. So why I would say that is, what if you get fired? What if you left
Yeah.
your job? You start then going looking for work. And also, more businesses now than ever actually value somebody that's got more visibility. And when you can contribute to the company. It's not about visibility for getting another job. It can be adding value of expertise of what you do. It can be sharing the content from your company. It can mean so many different things, but that you putting some emphasis on you, it's like self-care
Yeah.
for your
I
life.
think, yeah, that's brilliant. So imagine this, Danielle, if you're working for a company and you're on social, on your personal brand, and you're promoting what it is that you do because you sell or you manage or whatever it is that you do, you're promoting your company, but you're catching the attention of everyone else. You're becoming the expert in your field of whatever it is you're talking about. And one day, if you want to transition from that job to another job, guaranteed there's people that are watching.
I had
Somebody's
a real
watching.
example. Real example was in the dot-com crash. I was president of the Personalization Consortium, which was around ethical information management. I was one of the top guys in the world around the topic, which is pre-AI. So I was like head deep into that and wanted to be able to manage privacy. So built a board of directors with it was American Airlines, United Airlines, Delta, DoubleClick, KPMG. I mean, it was real. And the chairman of the board, I was president, and chairman of the board is Don Peppers, who's been on my show, who's one of the top marketing strategists of the planet. And we had this incredible group, and that created me great visibility. And my personal brand, I was public speaking. It was in my early 20s. I was just like, it was crazy. It was so like, it's so like, I can't even believe it happened to me. It's like, sort of like, did that really happen? And it was like, it was amazing. My business shut down. It went under from the dot-com crash. I ended up getting a job immediately offered to me from one of Arlene Dickinson, which was Venture Communications, huge company in Canada, and Critical Mass, which is today one of the top 5 digital firms in the world, to come work with them because they were doing personalization for Nike, Procter & Gamble, and they wanted me to go and pitch large companies. I got a sick freaking job offer because my personal brand and visibility was such that they wanted to leverage that into this new offering. So it gave me it was like frictionless. So that is also something that I think is common.
Oh, I
So
love it. I love it.
I would say, like, I think she asked the right question. A lot of people are asking though. I think that's where I think a lot of people are going, yeah, but I don't want to do it because I don't want them to think that I'm trying to get another job, right? That's where you can actually lean into what your passions are. You don't have to lean into like something that gives them any indication that you're thinking about leaving, especially if you're not. But if you have something that you want to bring to the table, then you can contribute to it, then I think that's going to be more accepted than ever. So.
Yeah, if there's something that you do that you're good at, whether it be your job or whether it be what the function you do in your job or something that your job has taught you or that you teach somebody, or if there's value in what you share, say, hey, listen, I work for ABC company and this is what we do. And, here's something fascinating that maybe you don't know and you really should. And then you drop that knowledge. If your company watches that, they're gonna be like, wow, that's awesome. Look at her. Or look at him. I just saw Katie pop on, so I said, look at her because she just popped on. Look at her. She's actually talking about our company and she's helping us promote our company. Now, whether somebody then comes in and swoops you out of that company, it's another thing. But again, it's what you said before. Don't stop trying to be an influencer and be a person of influence, right?
Yeah.
Don't be a person. Don't just aim to be this is not, I don't know where this quote come from. I forget. I do, but it's not coming to me. But don't just be a person of success. Be a person of value.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Be a person of value. And I think that when you do that, when you add value to the world, to the community, it isn't just the people you're speaking to that are looking. It's your employer may be looking, your next employer, your next business partner, your next whatever may be the person on the other side of that screen, on the other side of that blog or whatever they're reading or watching or whatever it is, or that podcast.
100%. There's a quote that I like. It's called "Dig a well before you're thirsty." By building a personal brand, you don't know what your future has. You don't know if you're going to become an entrepreneur, if you're an employee, or if you're building a business. And so many people build. Hey, Katie. So many people, they're so in the moment where they're focused and they feel disingenuous or disloyal by putting energy outside of that. you need to also think of it like self-care. You need to hone and think the long term when it comes to personal brand, because if you're building an audience, you're digging them up for, like that adage, digging them up before you're thirsty. And like I thought NextClick, the first company I started 30 years ago, whatever it was, 25, 20 years ago, I thought that was going to be I was CEO of the company. It was funded. I was like, I was flying everywhere. I was like, I thought that was it. I've had like, I don't know. I think I lost track. I probably had about 15 companies between now and then. And about half of those are startups that fucking barely took off and then died and whatever, like side hustles and stuff. So you just don't know but what you want to do is that along the way, your personal brand can carry with you. And it's like your reputation. It gives you wings, a wind underneath your wings, so.
I love it. So it's Groundswell, and I this is bad. Groundswell Marketing? No, Groundswell.
Groundswell Marketing is my company. And for my podcast, it's groundswell.fm.
FM. Damn, I knew it was something like that. I had groundswell.marketing.
Well, it's because throwing off because it's groundswell.marketing is my URL.
Yeah. So I was close.
Yeah. I just like point people to groundswell.fm because that's usually people want to get the podcast. There's free content there. The top marketers in the world. I'm about to drop, like I said, Michael Brenner on my next episode. Master Co. I just did a whole unbelievable episode with Master Co. And he's never done a business podcast discussion like that. And the business meditation they gave me for business owners to do creative thinking before they come up with creative concepts. I'm about to finish producing that, and I'll be putting it up. So yeah, super cool.
That's awesome. That one isn't up yet though with Master Co.
Yeah,
I want that one. What's that?
The podcast is up.
Oh, awesome! I'm going on tonight and listening to that because I want to know. I want to see what that. Well, I want to hear it, but then I want to see it when you get the video because
I did his marketing and his branding for him initially to rebranded him. So we have a lot to talk about. We've actually, most people don't know it because I don't hail from the top of the rooftops like, oh my god, I've been working with Master Co. I just have been quietly working with him in strategy and helping him and I helped do his rebrand. We launched it in 2018 San Jose. And and launched his Instagram. His Instagram account, when I took it on, he had 200 people. So by the time I was done managing, it was 20,000 or something. So
awesome. You are the man. That's why I love having you every week. And by the way, thank you again for coming on, man. I appreciate you coming on. And this is Marketing Mondays on a Wednesday. So I again thank you for coming on here. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to our talks each and every week, and I can't wait till Monday when we uncover something else that can help all of us. So Deborah says she really enjoys my friends, so thank you, and Master Co too. Yeah, Master Co was funny. The other day I did the 100th episode last week, and there was a little bit of a tech issue with that.
I got your message. Sorry, I was actually on another show.
No, which is okay. But what happened is the message you got when you tried to get in, because StreamYard had shut down, I had to open it again, and it gave you a different code. I don't understand why if it's the same show. So it was a bunch of people that didn't make it on, which is not good. But listen, it was fun. Master Co is on. Master Co is a funny dude, actually. People don't realize. He's a good dude. He's
very funny.
Great. He started the first joke of the night. It was awesome.
Yeah, so when you go to one of his events, he does jokes all day long. It's funny.
Yeah, he's good. I love spending time with him. Definitely awesome. Katie says you are freaking talented, and I happen to agree with that. So Katie says, yeah, it's Wednesday. And Deborah says, thank you, Scott. And again, I'm going to echo that and say thank you, Scott. Again, I appreciate you.
Thank you. It's nice to hear that feedback. It means a lot to me.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. And show them some love. Go to groundswell.fm.
Leave a review, please.
Leave a review. Yes, leave a review and share it far and wide. Appreciate you all. Obviously, you can find him at tribe.echo on Instagram. You can find me at Tony Rodriguez 2.0 on Instagram and certainly on YouTube as well. Please check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/C/GetUpNGrow and subscribe. Share with your friends. And remember, my friends, that life is not about how many times you fall. It's about getting up after every fall. And every single time you fall, you have the opportunity to get up and grow we must. And for tonight, that is all. I appreciate you all, my friends. brother. Thanks for coming on,
Thank you.
and ciao for now.
See you guys.